This is a musical card. It plays on chain melody, and I'm purposely not playing it so I don't get a copyright strike. How cute is that? It came from Amazon, but the company is called 100greetings.com. So let's keep that there. I guess this could be the after picture. I posted a before picture on my community wall. But if you want the best tasting chocolates, this is not it. We know C's candy, in my opinion, is the best tasting chocolates, but I can't find a nice big hard box from C's. Even my husband has mentioned, I want you to have C's candy, but they don't have a big heart. Anyways, shame on me. I'm sweating bullets here. Valentine's Day snuck up on me. And for those of you following me, you know my love story. That is, our Valentine's Day is February 13th. Because the anniversary of our first date, look at that, is February 13th. And we had relatives flying in and out of LAX. We had relatives Hawaii. We had so much going on, and so I had no clue I was going to be so disorganized for us on our Valentine video. But so my apologies. So let me briefly outline my love story with my husband. Our first date was February 13th, which was a Saturday, 1982. It was a military ball down in San Diego. I believe it was the Sheraton on Harbor Island. For some reason, I want to say Harbor Island, San Diego area. And for every little girl who dreams of a Cinderella moment, that was my Cinderella moment. And I'm telling you, I never in a million years could I have believed that our first date would be as magical as it was. But literally, when I came through the door, the whole ballroom turned, because my husband at the time was a lieutenant colonel and knew a lot of people. He never showed up at a military ball with a significant other. He did it one time, many years prior, with his ex-wife. It was a complete disaster, and he never did it again till me. So when they saw him with somebody, it was like that. Unbelievable. So we went in and we went through the receiving line, and just immediately felt like this is really something. And from that day on, for I don't know how long, he always referred to me as the belle of the ball. And so that was February 13th. And then March 10th, I invited him up to Santa Barbara and ended up spending a whole day together. I'll find out years later that was the day he fell in love with me on our second date. And by the end of March, last week of March, we were engaged. We live happily ever after. And I'm so happy that he enjoys looking back at pictures and remembering our first date. And we drove all the way to San Diego. I came from Santa Barbara, then we stopped in Simi Valley at his house. All the way to San Diego, I sang every song on the radio nonstop, from rock and roll, country, contemporary, you name it, I sang it, and I kept punching all these dials, and I set my husband's radio. He didn't say a word, and I find out later he was surprised beyond words at how many songs I sang, and that I knew the words to every single song. But I think every young person is that way. I don't think it's just unique to me. I think when we're young, that's all we do, is we're into music. And so I was 21 at the time. And then the following day, we went into Mexico, and we had a fun, like a Tijuana shopping spree day. And, my mom, weren't too happy. My husband's the same age as my parents, so they were very upset. So I was shunned. But we no sooner had our first kid than everything worked itself out, so all was well. I think the only thing I'm missing are the lovely red roses from my sweetheart. I think the reason for the big box of chocolates is from that one year I told you this story. My husband was at the commissary shopping decades ago, and he saw, it was Valentine's Day, and he gets 3 boxes of Valentine chocolates. Not this big, of course, but in decent size. He gives one to me, one to one to the real estate lady secretary. They had a real estate office, hundreds of agents on it. He gave one to her. And then one to the secretary in the loan building. But when he came home and told me, I thanked him. I said, "This is so nice." And he proceeds to tell me, "Yeah, I got one for so-and-so." I'm so mad. I said, "What? You get the same thing you get your wife, you get for the secretaries?" He had no clue. It was like the deer in the headlight look. And so, needless to say, that never happened again. And I think that's the reason why now it's always the biggest box of heart-shaped candy chocolates. So, there's that. And then the other story, crazy. I tell you these terrible stories just so you know what love is. Even when in the best relationships, things go crazy sometimes. And no fault to anybody, but people don't know things. So this one day he's at work. Again, this was decades ago, and some lady at his work had on a lovely perfume, and he gets all the information, and he's all excited, and he gets it for me. And I go, "Oh, I wasn't that crazy about it, but it was nice." And he proceeds to tell me, after I said, "Oh, how'd you know about this?" "Yeah, a lady at my work had it, and I liked it so much, I told her I wanted to get it for my wife." I was fuming. So I retold him the story sarcastically, and I said, "Just a minute. So you mean to tell me there's a lady at your work and you told her you love the perfume, you want to know what it is because you want to get it for your wife?" He says, "Yeah." I was just fuming. So, all in innocence again, the deer in the headlight look, and I can say is, you know, love, love is so many things to so many different people, and you just need to know that people that have been married for years, or what you think might be they have the perfect wedding, or whatever you think might be the perfect marriage. It's filled with heartbreak and heartache and anger and temper tantrums and tears and all this stuff, I'm sure. But through it all, love does prevail. In fact, this is a cute little thing on here. It says, love does not consist in gazing at each other, but in looking outward together in the same direction. And reason this card is so lovely is that silhouette of the two on the bench reminds both of us so much on our first date. Part of our first date on the day on our second date when my husband fell in love with me was the whole day in Santa Barbara from morning to night. We did the whole town. In fact, we saw 2 movies that day. One around noontime and one later in the evening. And midday, or, oh no, not midday, maybe early evening, we had drinks at the Harbor Restaurant at the Santa Barbara Pier. And we walked the pier and we sat and looked out on the beautiful sunset. As the sunset setting in the west, it was beautiful as we looked over, the pier, Santa Barbara. And that's exactly the setting. But so where was I going with that? We got engaged and married. Neither one of us had any deal breakers. There was nothing. Each one of us was so completely happy with the package, the whole 9 yards, not a single complaint. I started having complaints when we had kids. I feel so bad. And so, I wanted to set certain examples for the kids. And so I wanted to set certain examples for the kids. And, it's such a shame. I was always on my husband. You can't say that. You can't do that. It was terrible. And then, if I have to think of the 2 biggest, which would have been deal breakers, is his lack of discipline towards the kids, which gave them a mixed message. Mom said one thing and Dad said nothing, basically. And I always felt I was being undermined. And I said, can you at least say, listen to your mother? And he wouldn't do that. But his reasoning was you needed a good guy and a bad guy. Good cop, bad cop. He was a military officer, and it worked well in the military, so he insisted it would work well at home. Good cop, bad cop. And of course he was a good cop. And I was so stressed out the way he spent money. I'm just the opposite. I saved money. It's not that I grabbing it, saving it. It's just I didn't spend it. I had very little to make me happy. And because I didn't have to have a lot of things, I realized, oh my goodness, I'm saving money. So anyways, that was very, very stressful. And, but again, love wins. And here we are in our golden years, and when I look back and think that I just have a couple little complaints, no deal breakers when we got married, and here we still are today after 42 years. I'm just happy. So